Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hello Word. I am Alex, your host for this journey of discovery into fascinating English terms and expressions that you can use in everyday life. It is always wonderful to have you tune in, whether you are listening during your morning commute, while preparing dinner, or simply taking a moment to expand your language skills. Today, we will be focusing on English words for different types of hair and hairstyles. Our goal is to make sure you not only learn new vocabulary, but also understand how to use each term in natural, fluid conversation. This will help you sound more confident and precise when you describe yourself, a friend, a movie character, or even someone you saw on the street. Before we dive into the details, I would like to share a few helpful hints on learning these words. First, try to visualize the hair type or style each term describes. When you hear the word red-haired, for example, imagine someone with bright or fiery red hair so the meaning becomes instantly clear in your mind. Second, repeat the words and phrases out loud to get a feel for their pronunciation. Third, practice using them in simple sentences, either by journaling or talking with a partner. This way, you reinforce the newly learned terms and build confidence in your speaking skills. Now, let us begin our deep dive into these hair-related words, step by step. Red-haired is a term used to describe someone who has naturally red or ginger-colored hair. The word often brings to mind images of striking, vibrant shades that can range from coppery tones to deeper auburn hues. People with red hair are sometimes affectionately called red-haired in conversation. You might hear a friend say, "My cousin is red-haired, and her hair looks amazing in the sunshine." You could also hear, "I love how that actress looks with red hair. It really makes her stand out." The term is not limited to women. Men with red hair can also be referred to as red-haireds. If you are trying to describe a person you saw on the bus, you could say, "I noticed a red-haired person wearing a green jacket, and it looked fantastic." This word is a straightforward way to identify the unique hair color, and it is typically used in a friendly, descriptive context. Wavy is a word that describes hair that has a gentle, smooth wave rather than being completely straight or tightly curled. Wavy hair can be thought of as having soft bends that create an easygoing, slightly tousled look. You might see this term used in magazines or style tips. For instance, they used a curling wand on her hair to give it a wavy finish. In casual conversation, you might say, "My hair is naturally wavy, so I do not need to curl it much." Another example might be, after the humidity rose, his straight hair turned slightly wavy. People often like wavy hair because it looks effortless and relaxed, and it can be styled in many different ways. This term is great for distinguishing between hair that is absolutely straight and hair that has some form of curl, but not a tight one. Brunette is a word that refers to someone who has brown hair. You may have heard people say, "She is a brunette," meaning that her hair is some shade of brown, which can range from light brown to deep, dark brown. Often, people use the term brunette when discussing hair color, especially in a context of variety. For example, "I am naturally brunette, but I have always wondered what I would look like as a blonde." Another everyday sentence might be, "My best friend is a brunette who has warm, caramel-colored highlights." The term brunette is usually used to describe women, though it can apply to men with brown hair as well. If you are talking with someone about your appearance, you could say, "I used to be brunette, but I dyed my hair red for a change." Bun is a word that describes a hairstyle in which the hair is gathered, twisted, or rolled up in a circular shape, usually at the back of the head. You might have seen people wear a neat bun for formal events, or a messy bun for a more casual style. A person could say, "I put my hair in a bun when I go to the gym because it keeps it out of my face." In some contexts, you might hear, "She wore a sleek, elegant bun for the wedding." Buns can be secured with pins, hair ties, or clips, and they are versatile enough to be placed at different heights on the head. If you want to give someone instructions, you can say, "Can you help me style my hair into a neat bun for this job interview?" Graying is a term that describes hair that is becoming gray or white, usually as a natural part of aging. Some people begin graying in their 30s, while others might experience it much later. You might hear someone say, "My father is graying around his temples," which signals that his hair is gradually changing color. Another example is, "I have started graying, so I decided to embrace my silver strands." Sometimes, graying can be used figuratively too, such as when someone says, "The stress from work is making me go graying faster," though this is often more humorous than literal. If you want to comment gently on someone's changing hair color, you might say, "Your hair is graying so gracefully." You could also use it for yourself. For instance, "My hair started graying a few years ago, and I love how it looks now." Short haircut refers to a style where the hair is cut to a length that is clearly shorter than the average, often above the shoulders for women, or very cropped for men. You might say, "I decided to go for a short haircut because it is easier to manage during the summer." Another example is, "Her short haircut really shows off her cheekbones." The term short haircut is sometimes used more generally, without specifying exactly which short style it is, such as a pixie cut or a very short bob. If you want to talk about making a change, you could say, "I have always wanted a short haircut, but I was afraid it would not suit me." This phrase helps you convey the idea of a significant chop, and it emphasizes the convenience or style that comes from sporting shorter hair. Wig is a term that describes a head covering made from natural or synthetic hair, worn to hide baldness, change one's hairstyle, or use in performances. People might wear wigs for a variety of reasons. For example, "My friend wore a wig after she shaved her head," or "I used a colorful wig for my costume at the party." In everyday conversation, you could hear, "She has a whole collection of wigs to change her look without damaging her real hair." Wigs can come in countless styles, lengths, and colors. If you want to politely inquire, you might say, "Is that your natural hair or are you wearing a wig today?" Another context might be, stage actors often wear wigs to make their characters more believable. This term is handy when discussing different ways people alter their hairstyles. Layered style means that the hair is cut in layers of different lengths, giving it texture, volume, and movement. Layering can make thick hair feel lighter or add fullness to thin hair. You might hear someone say, "I asked my hairstylist for a layered style to add some bounce to my hair." In everyday conversation, a friend could comment, "Your layered style looks really trendy." Another example might be, "After having long, straight hair for years, I decided to change things up with a layered cut." People often appreciate how a layered style frames the face, and the layers can be subtle or dramatic depending on personal preference. If you're giving advice to someone, you could say, "If you want a fresh look, you should try a layered style to give your hair some texture." Fringe, also commonly called bangs in certain regions, refers to the section of hair that is cut to fall over the forehead. It can be cut in various ways, such as straight across, curtain style, or angled. You might hear someone say, "I got a fringe to change up my look," meaning they chose to cut the front portion of their hair shorter. Another example might be, "Her fringe really complements her face shape." This term can also be used if you are describing a style in a magazine or social media post, such as, "This new fringe trend is becoming popular on runways." If you want to suggest a style to a friend, you could say, "Why not try a fringe? It might soften your features and give you a new look." Highlights are sections or strands of hair that are dyed a lighter shade than the rest of the hair. Many people choose highlights to add depth, dimension, and a sun-kissed effect to their natural color. You might hear, "She got highlights that give her hair a warm, golden glow." Another example is, "His stylist added caramel highlights to his dark hair, and it looks fantastic." Highlights are often placed strategically around the face and throughout the hair to create contrast. If someone asks for hair advice, you could say, you should consider getting highlights to brighten up your look without completely changing your color. Using this term in conversation is helpful when you want to indicate that someone has partially lightened or streaked their hair, rather than a full dye job. Bob is a short, typically chin-length haircut that has been popular for many years. It is known for its sleek line that frames the face. You might have heard someone say, she has a classic bob that is very stylish. Another person might comment, my stylist suggested a bob to help my hair look thicker. The bob can vary in length and texture, such as a blunt bob or a slightly layered bob. In casual conversation, you could say, I am thinking about trying a bob because it is easier to maintain than long hair. Some people modernize it by adding waves or color. If you want to describe a friend's makeover, you could say, she went from having really long hair to a bob, and it suits her so well. Straight refers to hair that does not have any curls or waves. People with naturally straight hair might say, my hair is completely straight and has no volume, so I often use styling products. Another example could be, he uses a straightening iron to get that sleek, straight style. Straight hair can be thick or thin, and sometimes humidity can affect whether it stays perfectly straight or develops a slight wave. In daily conversation, you might hear, I wish my straight hair had more body, or I love her straight hair because it looks shiny. You can use this word to compare different textures as well. For instance, my sister has wavy hair, but mine is straight, so we style it differently. Straight is a basic descriptive term for hair texture that lacks curl. Blonde is a term that refers to light-colored hair that can range from a pale yellow tone to golden or even strawberry-tinted shades. You might hear, she used to be brunette, but she dyed her hair blonde for the summer. Another example is, I have always wondered what it would be like to have blonde highlights. This color is often associated with a bright, youthful appearance, but it can look very different depending on the specific shade. Some people keep their hair blonde by touching up roots or using special shampoos to maintain the color. You could say in conversation, he is a natural blonde and his hair gets even lighter when he spends time in the sun. Whether someone is naturally blonde or chooses to dye it, the term is a simple way to describe light hair color. Dark, when referring to hair, describes a deep or rich shade, often dark brown or black. You might hear people say, I have dark hair that contrasts with my light skin, or she looks stunning with dark hair and bright green eyes. Another example is, he dyed his hair dark for the winter to change his look. When using dark to describe hair, you could also mention the specific shade, such as dark brown, to give more detail. In everyday conversation, you might say, my friend has the darkest hair I have ever seen. It is really striking. This term is straightforward, which is helpful for quickly describing hair color, especially if you are comparing different hair colors among a group of people. Bald head refers to a head without hair, either naturally, by choice, or because the person shaves their head. You might hear, my brother has a bald head by choice because he finds it easier to maintain. Another example is, he started losing his hair, so he decided to go for a bald head. In casual conversation, you could say, he is rocking a bald head, and it suits him. The term bald head is quite direct, so depending on the context, some might use bald or shaved head. It is common to mention this if you are describing someone in a crowd, such as, the man with the bald head and beard looks really confident. This phrase is also useful if you are distinguishing someone by that physical characteristic, especially if you cannot remember a name. Ponytail is a hairstyle in which the hair is pulled away from the face and gathered at the back of the head, resembling the tail of a pony. People might say, I wear a ponytail when I go jogging, or she looked casual in jeans and a ponytail. Another example could be, he has long hair and often ties it into a low ponytail. The style can vary in height, from high on top of the head to low near the nape of the neck. If someone likes to keep their hair out of their eyes, you might hear, "I always wear a ponytail at work because I cannot have hair in my face." This term is widely recognized and is an easy way to describe a practical, everyday hairstyle. Curly describes hair that forms natural curls or spirals, ranging from loose ringlets to tight coils. You might hear, "My hair is curly, so I have to use special products to keep it hydrated." Another example is, "Her curly hair looks amazing when she lets it dry naturally." People often discuss how to care for curly hair. For instance, "My hairstylist taught me how to define my curly pattern without making it frizzy." In everyday conversation, you could say, "I love watching videos of curly hair routines because I learned so many tips." Whether you have big, bouncy curls or a subtle wave that forms tight spirals, curly is the go-to word for describing hair that does not fall straight. Some people even say, "My dad has curly hair, but mine is only slightly wavy," which shows how genetics can influence hair texture. Plait refers to a braid, typically created by weaving 3 or more sections of hair together. Though many people in modern English simply say braid, the word plait is also common, especially in certain varieties of English. You might hear, "She wore her hair in a single plait down her back." Another example is, "This hairstyle uses 2 plaits, one on each side, for a fun, youthful look." In casual conversation, you could say, "Can you show me how to make a perfect plait?" Plaits can range from very simple styles to intricate, detailed patterns. In many cultures, plaits hold cultural or social significance. If you want to give someone a compliment, you might say, "Your plait looks so neat and stylish." This term helps you describe hairstyles that are carefully woven for practical or decorative reasons. We have explored a wide range of words related to hair. Today's vocabulary includes red-haired, wavy, brunette, bun, graying, short haircut, wig, layered style, fringe, highlights, bob, straight, blonde, dark, bald head, ponytail, curly, and plait. Each of these words captures a unique aspect of how we describe hair in English. As you continue to improve your language skills, try incorporating these words into your daily conversations or writing exercises. Think about the times you comment on your own hair or someone else's. Perhaps you are going to the salon for a new look and need to describe the style you want, or maybe you want to compliment a friend's fresh cut. Using these words with confidence can help you communicate clearly. I encourage you to revisit each term and practice forming your own sentences. Repetition is key when it comes to language learning, so do not be shy about reviewing definitions, practicing out loud, or jotting down notes in a journal. If you find yourself struggling to remember certain words, try associating them with a picture or a real-life example. Also, remember that discovering how different words are used can be both fun and inspiring. The ability to describe hair accurately comes in handy in countless situations, from chatting with friends at brunch to reading a book that describes a character's appearance. Embrace these new expressions and do not hesitate to experiment with them. Before we sign off, do not forget to subscribe to the Hello Word podcast. By subscribing, you will stay informed about all our upcoming episodes, where we delve deeper into practical English tips and fun language facts. If you enjoyed today's show, I would really appreciate it if you left a review. Positive reviews help others discover the podcast and join our friendly community of language learners. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, this is Alex signing off. Take care and keep practicing your English skills every day.